You shush.
We are live. We are live. Welcome in, everybody.
Whoa.
So today we will be discussing the last final episode of season 2, The Mandalorian. So this is it till next December.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed it. So
You are live.
well, let's do a quick chat check. So we'll welcome in Mike Wheeler. Hey, hey. Noah, welcome in. Noah, Teresa Martin. Ready for spoilers? Yes, there will be spoilers. So if you have not seen the episode, you might want to turn the volume off. We will be talking about the whole episode and where it's headed. It's Joey's World. Lisa, Keith, and Joey, welcome in.
I know. Right, Lisa?
Yeah, till December 2021. Yep.
It's like Luke Skywalker when he's holding on the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to make a meme with that.
Yeah.
Mandalorian season 3 coming Christmas 2021. No.
Yeah. Perfect.
Poor Jeff. He's trying to get a hold of the stream.
I know. I'm trying to keep everything.
Go ahead. Keep everything under control, Jeff. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So this episode starts off with Boba Fett ship, which is the ugliest ship ever.
Come on, no, that is an awesome
That is
ship.
an
Slave
amazing
1.
ship. I did not understand what you were talking about. Sorry.
Who knows how that ship can fly? Because that's like
Well,
most
first off,
unaerodynamic ship ever.
right?
So
I understand.
he's chasing Dr. Pershing's ship.
Yes. What do you?
Lambda class shuttle. Which
It looks like an iron.
Huh?
An
Slave
iron.
one.
You know, like an iron that you iron clothes with, and it's this way.
That's the ugliest ship.
It's
Anyway,
it's a
Lord
Lambda
knows how that
class
flies.
shuttle. It was first introduced in Empire Strikes Back. It was It's the first ship we see Darth Vader come down in Empire Strikes Back.
Huh.
Well, they're talking about Slave 1.
That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slave 1 is an awesome ship because if in the previous episode we actually seen how the
How it
inside
works.
rotates.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's true.
Because when it takes off flat, and when it starts to fly, the whole interior of the cockpit and everything just kind of like rotates. And
Yes.
that's something that we've seen new in The Mandalorian. We actually see the inside of how Slave 1 works.
Pretty cool.
Welcome in, Chris
Yes.
Blue Nose 352.
Did you do a chat check before you just jumped right in?
I did
No,
chat
she did
check.
chat check.
I did chat check.
Okay.
Welcome in, Chris. So they're chasing Dr. Pershing's ship. I don't know how they knew he was on the ship, but anyway, they caught him, blasted him,
Well,
and they got. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Now, Jeff has to understand that we're very passionate about this.
I'm gonna go around. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No.
The only reason why I says they might have just been
Okay.
chasing any Lambda class shuttle because they needed a Imperial shuttle to get onto the cruiser.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure if they knew Dr. Pershing was on this ship.
Because
They
I
they
think they just need the ship.
Yeah.
didn't really use him in any type of way other than asking him where things were inside the ship.
Yeah. I guess it was irrelevant, but they were, but just I guess that's why they jumped. It's almost like they just jumped to that. They totally
Right.
skipped the whole piece of like how
Right.
they found it. So
How they found it.
I apologize, Jeff. I
Yeah.
will not
No, go ahead.
interrupt you again.
go ahead
Well,
and finish what you need to say.
No. Go ahead.
No,
I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say,
Go ahead.
Going into Dr. Pershing because he basically just gives up that information.
Well, he doesn't want to lose his life, and
well, that too.
he loves. I think he really likes the child too. I mean, he was like, "Oh yeah, he's on the." He like said right
Yeah.
away where he was.
Well, in a way, it reminds me of the fact that the Empire basically forces people to do what they don't want to do, and so I think he's caught in that. He's
right.
a cloner, but he at the same time doesn't necessarily want to do exactly what he's being told to do. But
Right.
is kind of being forced.
Yep. Okay, Jeff, go ahead Go ahead, do what you were doing.
I'm done.
first.
I'm
ahead.
done. No,
Go
I'm
ahead.
done. I'm
Please
done.
go through.
Jeff,
He has a
please.
little notebook all set up.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You're up. Go ahead.
No, go.
Okay, I will do it then. I'll read what he has on here. So he says Boba Fett's ship is chasing. Okay, Dr. Pershing
It doesn't
gives.
matter.
Okay, why don't you say it?
What? Then they land on they're chasing. They land on Moff Gideon's ship. Jeff, we want to hear your notes. No, just go ahead. We'll just go do it like we normally do.
No, go ahead.
Welcome in, Amy.
It is your channel. Go for
Yeah,
it.
it's your stream on your channel, dude.
Go for it, Jeff.
Going back into
let Russ do his rant.
No, I'm not doing my rant. We're going back into the story because it's another interesting part on the ship that they basically the pilots turn on Dr. Pershing, right?
Yes.
And then Kara ends up having to shoot the guy in the head.
Good shot, though. That was
which Mando doesn't seem to care for very much.
He doesn't like that she did that. You don't think?
Well, he kind of, the shot is, she shoots him and then basically turns around and walks away, and Mando's like standing there staring at her, like, what did you just do? Kind of a thing,
He was instigating her, though.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of was. Because he was basically egging her on about Alderaan. So
yeah, I learned something. Did you know about that little? I saw she had that little tattoo. So that's a tear, I guess, from.
Yeah, it's like a tear tattoo. Yeah, it's because it basically says that her world was destroyed by the Empire. That's basically what that means.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he knew she was from Alderaan because of that. So the only people from Alderaan maybe that wore that. I didn't know that. I thought that was interesting.
Princess Leia didn't have one, though.
She didn't need one.
Huh?
She didn't need one.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, I think it's just that the troopers, it was one of those things that the soldiers got. It's a that kind of a thing. It's not required that you have one.
Yeah. Lisa said, "I thought Mando just fell in love with her at that point. That's why he was staring at her."
It could have been. I mean, he could have. You can't see his face, so
right. He could have been
it just seemed
nice.
like, whoa, what did you just do? Kind of a thing,
Nice.
Well, they didn't need that guy anyway.
No, he was just being annoying. Honestly, there was no relevance to what he was talking about.
Well, he was being an Empire. Yeah.
Goofball.
Like he was asking for it.
Yeah.
He was begging. He was actually begging for it.
Yeah. All right. So what else do you have written down?
I was just going to go through the story and ask everybody. But
okay, why don't you do that?
We'll just do the normal thing. Just everyone.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm going to keep it.
I'm going to eat a macaroon. Go ahead, Russ. I need a macaroon.
Well, okay. So if we're talking about what this pilot says, and what this pilot says actually has come up in multiple talks about the Star Wars. He actually voices what a lot of people actually say about the Death Stars. You talk about the destruction of the Death Stars. He's absolutely right. How many people were on it? There was millions of Imperials on the Death Star. Again, they're all Imperials. Does it make it right that all these Imperials died for anything? Me personally, I don't know how this guy can claim that he was on the Death Star, considering that Death Star was completely obliterated. I mean, was he on one of these escape traps? Because they didn't have a chance to get to an escape shuttle unless they got to the second Death Star. Actually, they had time before it blew, because we had enough time for Luke to get Darth Vader's outfit and his father onto a Lamba class shuttle before he took off out of off the second Death Star. So there's a good possibility this guy might have been one of the Imperials escaping the second Death Star, because I don't think the first Death Star there was a chance. The only person that probably escaped the first Death Star was Darth Vader himself, because he was shot out of the trench into open space. Everybody else on that, once Luke hit that exhaust port, it destroyed the whole Death Star. I don't think there was a warning whether or not that this was coming. The second Death Star, there was a little bit more of an idea of a warning that something was going to happen, and they got a chance to get out of there.
Well, and Kara even jokes about, he's like, asking, well, which one, which Death Star were you on, and he gets mad about that too. So,
and he calls her a dropper because of her arm tattoo. Yeah. Her arm tattoo signifies that she was a drop trooper.
Yeah,
and that's this all the way goes back into the first season when Mando, Cara Dune come to back to the spaceport, and they say if Cara Dune's going into town, she would have to cover that tattoo, because that tattoo pretty much signifies that she was a drop trooper for the New Republic, and in that town it was a little bit lawless. So that's how they knew what she was, just by the look of it. Now, me personally, I don't know if he was upset that he shot the pilot, because maybe Mando was relying on information that was going to come out of the pilot as far as what's on that ship.
Right.
We don't know for sure, because if they had tracked down Dr. Pershing on that shuttle, then they were assuming that they were going to turn Dr. Pershing to their help. But if they didn't know that if Dr. Pershing was on that ship, they were probably waiting to use the pilots of that ship to get an idea of the layout of the inside of that light cruiser that they had no idea about.
But
that's the only thing I could think that why he was upset.
I don't think he was. Like, personally, I didn't see any type of, that's not something I picked up. I
didn't either.
It's like, okay.
I just kind of made me think he was surprised.
I wouldn't.
The fact that she just shot him because it's just not necessarily her, but I don't know.
No, I think he realized that he hit a nerve on her, and he knew that she was going to do it.
Mm.
So
I think he just turned around and looked at her and was just like, "Yep, there you go." He had it
that's
coming.
how I interpreted it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, she did it before he could, though.
Yeah,
he was probably going to do it if she didn't.
Who, Mando?
Yeah.
You think?
She was a good shot, though.
She just did it before he did.
But then she hurt his ear. It was like, he's like, my ear. And Abby was like, that was like Andy on The Office when Dwight shot the gun in the office and blew out Andy's eardrum. But anyway. Okay, so what
so
next?
Keith found it finally, the finale, extremely disappointing.
Oh, Keith found it disappointing.
What was disappointing, Keith?
We'll get to that at the end, I think.
Yeah.
You don't need your ear if you're a bad guy.
Okay, so what else did you?
I just had the story. I was just gonna
just kind of go through the story. Well,
yeah.
Okay, so I will do that then. Let me pull this out. So, Mando and Boba find, what's that say? Casca and Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
Okay.
They find Casca and Bo-Katan.
So how did they know where they were? Anybody have any idea? How did they know where
I think Mando kind of just knew. I mean, he knew where to find him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's my thinking. I just think that's what, because they had communicated before. So
right.
I don't know.
Maybe
they exchanged numbers or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say, in this scene, Bo-Katan annoyed the crap out of me.
Why is that?
Because, her whole thing about Boba, like, you're not a true Mandalorian, and Boba's like, one. Like, I literally never said that. I feel like she is very high and mighty. She's very righteous, and she's very full of
herself. He told her to sit down, princess. Right?
And it really aggravated me how full of herself she is.
Yeah.
So
but that's her though. I mean, that's
what I'm saying. That's her personality. That's her. That's fine. That aggravated me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Tina.
I agree.
But why is Boba Fett not a Mandalorian? I thought he was a Mandalorian.
Well, here's the thing. Boba Fett is a clone.
So she's not considering him a...
That's why she calls him, don't you mean your donor?
Yeah.
When she called him a donor, because he's a clone of Jango Fett. Jango Fett is technically a foundling.
We're basically doing space racism against Boba Fett right now. Like, honestly, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Jango Fett was a foundling who got his armor passed down from Josh, can't remember his name, Josh Morell or something like that, to effect where, so Jango Fett is from Crimson something, and he was, Jango Fett was a orphan because Death Watch attacked during the Mandalorian Civil War, and he was raised by another Mandalorian. And then when Jango Fett was commissioned to donate his DNA for the clone troopers, this goes all the way back to Attack of the Clones, where the Clominos say that the bounty hunter asked for only one thing, and it wasn't payment as far as cash. It was one unaltered clone, which means no inhibitor chip, no advanced growth serum, no obedience chip, and that was Boba Fett. Boba Fett is a 100% clone of Jango Fett. Now, obviously, he's not going to have the same life experiences as Jango Fett's because, it's just a clone. So it just depends on what happens afterwards. And that's why she said, I've heard your voice through many, many times, because all the clone troopers was Jango Fett, just in a different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome in, Carlos.
He said this could be the last time you hear it.
Yeah.
He was kind of ticked off. Yeah.
I really liked Boba in that scene. And that's why I'm also very excited about the whole Boba Fett series that we're going to be getting. That's going to be awesome, seeing all of, Boba Fett's.
Yes.
Also,
if you weren't paying attention, and I actually caught this on some of the other YouTube channels, I'll, if you don't mind, I'll tell them exactly what channel to check out. New Rockstars does a breakdown of almost all bunch of nerd stuff, and I watch his stuff. He actually says if you look at when they were flying into this industrial planet, all those industrial smokestacks have an Old Republic insignia on it. So it's not the New Republic. It's not the New Republic. It's not the Empire. It's actually Old Republic insignia. So this planet is still being run by Old Republic machinery.
Interesting.
So I had a question for Tracy during this scene, especially once Boba Fett and Casca start fighting. Bo-Katan basically tells Casca to stop and save it for the Empress. I was at the understanding that the Empress was dead.
No. What she says was save it for the imps.
Okay.
Imperials. And save it for the Imperials.
I thought she said Empress. Okay.
No, she says save it for the imps. And she says
that makes more sense.
If they had used this fighting and this anger towards the Imperials back when they were when the Imperials did the purge of Mandalore, they would never lost their planet. Right. So she's telling them, chill out.
Yes.
Save it for the Imperials.
That makes more sense then, because I heard Empress, and that's why I was confused. So
yeah. Sometimes it is nice to have that whatever it is, the words. What do you call it?
Closed captions on.
Closed captions.
Isaac.
Okay. Yeah, we need Isaac. Yeah. Okay, so do you want to just go? So you were just going to go through and just basically tell the story, and then we were all just going to talk about it, right? You were just going to go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what you probably should do, right?
Which is what we're doing. That's
yeah, that's what we're doing. We're just talking in between. So
I just wanted to interrupt with the Lambda class shuttle, because we're not for sure if they were chasing Dr. Pershing or were they just getting a Lambda class shuttle so they can because they've used that Lambda class shuttle in the past. And if you remember in Return of the Jedi, it was a Lambda class shuttle that they used to get to the ground of the Forest Moon of Endor. Yeah, they used this same shuttle. So it just, to me, I looked at it. I don't think they were looking for Dr. Pershing. I think they were just trying to get any Imperial Lambda class shuttle or any Imperial shuttle, and that happens to be the first one they came across.
Yeah. And they happen.
So I'm not sure if they knew who was on that shuttle. They were just trying to get a shuttle.
Yeah.
And there are several little throwbacks to Return of the Jedi and things like that in this episode. For that reason, I think, and
yeah.
So
Yep. So you have next. Then they land on Moff Gideon's ship, right? He has dark troopers on here.
They make it look like Boba Fett's chasing them.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was really cool.
That was cool.
I really loved when he was like, make him look real. And then he's going through and he's missing, and once they're actually on Moff Gideon's ship, he takes out every single one and leaves.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He says, "Don't worry, I'll put on a good show." I was like, "Oh,
I thought that was great."
That was good. That was good.
So I don't know if anybody else, and I mentioned this last night when I was over at Jeff and Angie's house, but I noticed several similarities in the look of this fight with Battlestar Galactica.
See, and I don't know Battlestar Galactica, so I wouldn't know what to
I know the
compare.
old Battlestar Galactica.
Which is a tie-in, with the lady that plays Bo-Katan. Just to me, it looked very similar to me. The way that the TIE fighters were launching, the way the Dark Troopers looked, they remind me of Cylons. That kind of thing. That it just, and that's just me. I mean, again, and it's just something that I noticed myself.
Did we see those before, those Dark Troopers? Have we seen those before?
Yes.
Last episode.
Yeah. In the last
that when Moff Gideon was in that one hallway, everybody was guessing what was in that docking bay, and then we've seen him. Those dark troopers are what took Grogu from the
we didn't see
Jedi
them.
Stone.
We didn't see them in any Star Wars movies or anything, right?
No.
First time we're seeing them.
What they're saying is the dark troopers are Generation 3, and what the first dark troopers came out in a video game back in in the 90s.
Okay.
And so what they're saying is the third generation, they pretty much took out all of the human element, which was the faulty their era.
Yeah.
Now, I think this makes a huge difference when you're talking about now our dark troopers are all droids, and we all know how Din Djarin loves droids. But it also is a throwback to, when you're looking at the separatist use a droid army. And here they are, they're going back to another droid army.
Right.
So I don't know.
I thought it was pretty crazy how strong they were too.
Well, that doesn't make sense though. Like if he has all these dark troopers, why didn't he just send them and a bunch of stormtroopers to get Baby Yoda, cut out the Mandalorian, cut the middleman, and it would have had Baby Yoda from the beginning? Maybe
they weren't ready. I don't know, because they were gone for a while. Like a lot of time passed between.
But he still had an army. I mean, look, it was Mandalorian and IG-11. They got in, killed all those people who, I don't know if they were protecting Baby Yoda in the first episode, or they were, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, some of this doesn't make sense because here you are. I mean, if I had dark troopers and I was on this one, when the dark troopers went down and they kidnapped the child and brought him back to the light cruiser.
Yes.
But he sent down two shuttles of stormtroopers to do the job. Why didn't he just send the dark troopers to begin with?
In the first place. Right.
I mean, is there a certain power limited? Like they're only good for maybe a half hour and then they have to recharge. I don't know how this all works. Considering that later on in the episode they come in and they're almost. Me personally, I didn't think of them as Cylons, and I think to me it reminded me more of Terminator. And the actions and the motions of the Terminator and that determination. That's what I got from that as far as the Dark Troopers.
And I wonder too, like, did Moff Gideon think that there might be Jedi down there guarding the child? Because obviously the lightsaber cuts through the droids. So I just wonder why, like you said, why didn't he send those dark troopers in the first place to capture the child right out of the gate?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Like, even send an army of stormtroopers, as bad as they shoot.
Right.
Just send an army of stormtroopers. You don't really seem to care about lives and stuff. So.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I thought my thing about the Dark Troopers, their theme is amazing. That, oh my gosh, music nerd inside of me was going absolutely insane when they had that awesome theme. It was really new, and I really enjoyed it because it was very industrial, and you had a lot of really, really cool themes in there. So I thought the theme for the Dark Troopers was amazing.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So welcome in, PJ Gillespie.
I really, really enjoyed the music in this episode. It was very, very good.
So as Joey's World said, maybe the Dark Troopers had short battery life. But they seem to be punching that door an awfully long time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those plot point things that, you know, it's just part of it. So
it's not that I'm unsatisfied with this episode. I thought if The Mandalorian was ending, this would be the perfect episode to end on, and then just start up with the Boba Fett series, because he did what he was supposed to do. He got the Baby Yoda back to where he was supposed to be, and the series. I don't know. That's just my take on it.
I think we all have our own opinion on it. So
Yeah, I'm reading that right now. But I think I couldn't agree with that, but I think they can do more with Grogu's story.
Yes.
And I think that's what they're going to probably end up doing, is they're going to be developing that.
So is that separate from The Mandalorian?
No, I think they're going. Okay, let me talk about how I feel about this episode very quickly, because I said before we started the stream that I don't really like talking about my opinion on this episode. What I think is going to happen, I think we're going to get a time jump. This is just my personal prediction about what's going to happen. Something totally different could happen. It's whatever. I think we're going to get a time jump, and I think we're going to see what Mando's doing however many years from now. And we're going to get back and forths between what Mando's doing and how Grogu is doing at the temple. And then I think those two sides of the episodes are going to come together at some point in this season. Something's going to happen to Mando, or something's going to happen to the temple that's going to bring the two of them back together. That's how I feel it's going to happen. Everybody has a different opinion on it. That's just my hopeful opinion. I would be totally interested in seeing a aged up Grogu. You know, it was said that Yoda was a master Jedi by 100, and he's only 50. So we have no idea where he's going to be even in 10 years. So I think it would be interesting to have that time jump and have a reason for the two of them to be together again. I highly doubt they're just never going to show Grogu again. Too much of a cash cow. They're definitely going to get more information. They're definitely going to get more content out of him, because that's just how Disney works. We all know that. And I think whatever they do, I'm going to be happy with it. Obviously, I was devastated at the end of this episode. I cried for 3 days straight. But that's just me. I'm a major empath. I get really emotional about TV shows and characters. So that's how I felt about this. I think the episode was amazing. I had absolutely no issues other than Bo-Katan being annoying. That was my only issue with the episode, was Bo-Katan. Everything else, beautiful. Wouldn't change a single thing.
Welcome in, Timothy Rainwaters. So let's go around. Let's get the cow. Let's get the elephant in the room. So we'll go around. Russ, Kenzie, Tracy. So what do you think about the introduction of Luke Skywalker coming in to save them all?
Oh, Dad's got some opinions on this.
So
Dad's got some opinions.
Go ahead. What are your opinions?
I'll get to your. I'll be the last opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, Russ, you want to go first? Because he has rant 2D2 up there.
I guess. I mean, and again, it's not necessarily that I have a rant. It's just that I was hoping for something different. I love that they brought Luke in. I was excited when I saw R2-D2, because he's my favorite. I was kind of hoping that they would introduce something new. That's what my rant is, that I was hoping for something different or something new, not necessarily that I was upset about Luke being there, you know, and we haven't really gotten through the story to finish that part to get to that point. But I mean, I like the fact that they brought him in. I mean, it's cool. Again, there's lots and lots of talk about the CGI and all that. I don't necessarily care for, you know, the fake Luke, but I mean, at the same time, it's Luke. I mean, it's him, you know, and that's cool. That's the only way they could do it. You know, it's just part of it. I've been kind of joking that it's Polar Express Luke because he looks like he's, he's just CG, but that's fine.
Mhm.
It's still Luke. You still get the coolness factor of him coming in and destroying the droids. You get, the fact that he's there, which I think is incredible.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with Kinsey as far as I'm a little bit torn as to where now we're going to have a split storyline.
Right.
If they decide to do that, who knows? I mean, it may end up being that Mando decides, okay, well, no, I'm going to go and hang out with Grogu instead, or who knows? We don't know, and that's the thing. It's fun to speculate, and it's fun to come up with ideas, but we have no idea, and we won't know until next year.
Right. The door could just open again, and Luke's still standing there with him, and handing him back to Mando and saying, "I can't do a thing with him."
Well, and of course,
just take him back.
We end the episode with a lot of questions,
right?
Which is part of the cliffhanger. That's what it is. That's what it's designed to do. It's designed to bring you back next year. And they're going to continue to let that to be talked about, and I'm sure they'll tease it with other things,
right?
That will get you to want to come and watch it again, because it's going to be a whole year,
right?
So they've got to do that. They have to have that shock factor, and Luke was the shock factor, I think, and I think that the direction that they go in, I agree. I think with Kinsey, I think that no matter what they do, it's going to be good, and everybody's going to watch it. But how the Disney fans are.
Yep.
How the Star Wars fans are. They have to complain about something.
Yep, I'll talk about that.
And and again, that's just part of it. It's just part. For whatever reason, you just have these people that like to just rip on it, and no matter whether it's good or not,
right?
So that's my rant, is that I like it, but at the same time, I was hoping for either a new character. I was actually hoping, rather than a Jedi showing up, a Sith was going to show up. That was my hope.
I didn't see.
But they may save that for later, so who knows?
Right.
I want to know who's above Gideon.
Right
now. Yeah. Who's his boss?
So that's my only thing. So yeah.
My opinion, I thought it was perfect. I thought having Luke come in, I can understand where you're coming from, Russ, but I don't think it would have had nearly as much excitement or happiness from fans if it had been a totally new Jedi we had never heard of before. Everyone would have been like, "What? Who?"
Well, and see that's where I'm saying I wish that it was a Sith, because then you would have the kind of the Empire Strikes Back ending, to where it is an open ending and it's a dark ending.
Yeah.
And that kind of a thing.
I don't. Yeah. There aren't any active Sith at the moment, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This could have been that time to say the Sith are.
Yeah, but
again, if they're also playing off the fact that if it's going to be, they're somewhat setting up the whole clone thing for the Emperor.
Yeah. So, I think Luke was amazing. I think that fight, that lights. Oh my goodness! Yeah. I was sitting in awe.
That was crazy.
And I was crying when Grogu was like, he had his hand on the screen, because, he knew that person was there for him. And, obviously I was very sad about that. I'm not going to get into the sad stuff for myself because I'll cry. But I think Luke coming in was amazing. That fight scene, beautiful. Like, that is what I think, that's what Star Wars fights are. And it was awesome. I think the CGI looked fine. I did not have an issue with it whatsoever. He looked like Luke. That was it.
Yeah.
I was excited when R2 came in, and I also thought it was really cute when R2 openly acknowledged that he recognized Grogu from the temple.
So that's what you think happened. That's what you think happened. I think that too.
And Grogu were both at the Jedi temple. Like, R2's been there since the beginning of Star Wars, so he knew who Grogu was. He'd seen him before. I think what R2 was saying was, "Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're alive."
Yeah, you made it. Yes,
you're alive. You made it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think it was amazing. Obviously, I was sad, and I think it was really sweet the moment that obviously Grogu and Mando had with each other, with him taking off his helmet. You can see that Grogu's trying to memorize his face. It's so sweet, and I just thought it was amazing. I will always be sad about it, but I really loved it. I was really happy with it. The only thing I had an issue was the fact that Bo-Katan just refused to take the saber. Oh my God, just take it. Oh, you were given it before. That's how you got it in the first place.
Is it? Is that how she got it in the first place?
That's how she got it in the first place.
Okay.
She was given it. That just aggravated the crap out of me. But other than that, I thought it was great. Amazing. Loved it. I thought it was a perfect ending. Obviously, I would want a million more episodes of just domestic life with Grogu and Mando, but
right. Like WandaVision, but Mandovision.
Yeah. And what I have to say to the people who are upset about the CGI, Disney could do everything that you want, and you would still find an issue with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I feel like I cannot stand people who hate the sequels just to hate the sequels. You're not edgy.
Because everybody else hates them. Yeah.
Exactly. You just hop off the bandwagon. Appreciate that Disney's still doing content, because Disney 100% could have said, we're not going to do anything Star Wars related, and you are never going to get more content.
Right.
I'm happy you're getting more content.
No, Disney was definitely not doing that.
Obviously, there were issues with the episodes. Obviously, there were issues with the sequels, but you cannot find an issue with literally everything. That's how I feel about it. I thought it was great. That's my opinion. Yeah. Dad's actual opinion is not PG, so he's not going to say it.
Oh, geez.
Hey, everybody's entitled to their opinion.
All right,
and that's what I say. Like, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but when you bandwagon on something just because everybody else hates it, that's what aggravates me.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
All right, Tracy, what do you think?
Luke kicked some.
I don't know if you heard it, but I heard him.
Yeah. So let's just say what was bleeped out was my the rump part of the body. We needed to see Luke Skywalker, because if it was any other Jedi, would any of the viewers trusted that Jedi to take Grogu from the Mandalorian?
True.
No.
True.
Nobody who was a Star Wars fan.
That's a good point.
Trusted, because whether you know where, like everything else in this series, when we were introduced to Bo-Katan, when we were introduced to Ahsoka Tano, when we were introduced to Boba Fett, you didn't have to know the backstory. Anybody and everybody who has an inkling of Star Wars that might have watched this show knows who Luke Skywalker is, knows that he's the Jedi Master. If it would have been any other Jedi coming onto that ship to approach Grogu, nobody would have trusted that Grogu would have been saved, other than with Luke Skywalker.
Everybody loves Ezra. Everybody loves these other.
Not enough people know who Ezra Bridger is. Not enough people know these other Jedis that may have survived the Purge. We got introduced to Ahsoka. We got introduced to some other characters. We didn't have to know who they were, because we were introduced to them by the fact that Mandalorian was introduced to him. So we, as an audience, were introduced to him the same time as
Mando was.
I think even people in the Star Wars galaxies knows who Luke Skywalker is.
I thought it was funny though when he came in and they're like, "Are you a Jedi?" He comes in.
I think part of that though was Mando was hoping he probably wasn't.
So, I mean, just the Luke Skywalker, the kill box, the battle. This is reminiscent of Darth Vader in Rogue One, where he's walking down the hallway. He's pretty much doing, and you could see the evolution of Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi. Because listen, even watching Return of the Jedi, he is not this good of a fighter as he is now. You have seen the evolution of Luke Skywalker. He has gotten better. You have seen a lot more force control. He's used a lot of, and in fact, there was a lot of the stuff that was pointed out that, you know, he did the a laser deflection from the rear. His father did the same thing in Revenge of the Sith. He has gotten better, and this whole this whole walking on and taking out the Death Troopers, I thought was an absolutely amazing sequence. It just brought the end of this episode together correctly.
Yeah.
Now, going all the way back, and I know we skipped a lot of the walking down, the blocking of the shuttle, the launch shuttle tube for the TIE fighters. Brilliant idea. That was actually given an explanation earlier in the episode where that was their plan, was to block the TIE fighters from coming out. They had to block because, first off, Boba Fett doesn't want a squadron of TIE fighters chasing him. He'd rather have 2 TIE fighters or 3 TIE fighters chasing him than a whole squadron of TIE fighters. It makes sense. Bottleneck that launch chute.
Mm-hmm.
Then, they're coming off the ship and they're just shooting randomly, just going out and just shooting randomly. Obviously, they're going to. And this is what I find a little interesting. Here we have the Republic and Mandalorian troop. They're going out. They're just obliterating people left and right. When they started walking across that one bridge where you see the ray shield and the space underneath them, I knew that was important. I knew that was going to be important for the future part of this episode because I had a feeling as soon as I seen Din Djarin eject all the dark troopers into space, they weren't done because we have already seen that there's another way into the ship other than the chute.
Oh, never that easy.
I think if you were paying attention, you kind of had an idea like there's another way into the ship than just that airlock or just. So I knew that was kind of important. Now here's the thing. Cara Dune and what's the other girl's name?
Fennec.
Yeah.
They're just going across that bridge, shooting.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
When the stormtroopers actually come in behind them, they could have easily just gone in, come in behind them, shooting. Why wouldn't they? I mean, that's what their job is to do. They're actually telling them to freeze and hold on. That gave them enough time for the Mandalorians to come off the sides and shoot them.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
So realistically, when you're looking at it, is here we have in when Din Djarin and Moff Gideon are talking, and he was telling them about Bo-Katan and they're pretty much what's going to happen up on that bridge. They're going to shoot and kill everybody. That's exactly what they do. Where the Imperials, they actually held off a little bit before they actually shot him.
Hi, Keystone. Hi, Francisco.
Francisco. Thank you, Stone. Welcome in, Francisco.
That's,
good to see you guys.
Continue,
that's fun
Robert.
to say, Francisco.
Every time.
Every time.
Elf.
So I can see. I don't know if they were trying to capture Cara Dune and Fennec, or Fennec or whatever.
Yeah.
But it just seems weird that here we have stormtroopers that were actually holding off, and for story exposition they didn't shoot right away. If I was a stormtrooper and I just seen all these people mow down my buddies, there's no doubt I'm going to be standing holding a gun saying, "Put down your weapons." A real stormtrooper is going to be shooting. Granted, it's a stormtrooper, so it would have been all over the place, and they wouldn't have hitting a thing. Correct.
Yeah.
But all of that was pretty cool. Now, I don't know if we want to come back to the Darksaber.
Yeah.
Issue. Or do we want to continue? What is your thoughts of the
We
Luke
need to
Skywalker?
probably cover. We skipped over the Darksaber part.
Well, I was going to get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely want to go back and talk about Gideon. So
Yeah.
I just really wanted to say I thought it was so funny when they saw Luke come in and Moff Gideon was like,
yeah,
he knew he knew he was
Do
done.
you think he knows Luke Skywalker? Moff Gideon?
I
No.
think he knew
No, he
that
saw him mowing down
someone
the
was
dark
coming.
troopers.
Screwed.
Okay.
Gideon is still my favorite character of the entire series.
Uh-huh.
I like the fact that he basically he's so calculated and he plans every step. Like the entire episode, I feel like as soon as he saw Slave One, he was ready. He knew it was Mando. He knew it was them coming to try and get the child. I think that's what I think. I mean, because he had it planned he already had it planned that he was not going to be on the bridge when Bo-Katan got there. He knew Bo-Katan was coming for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he had that all planned already because he ended up, that's what he was doing. He was, to control who had the Darksaber, because he does not want Bo-Katan to get the Darksaber.
Well, first off, I don't think it was the Boba Fett. I don't think he recognized Boba Fett. He didn't recognize Slave One. He recognized Bo-Katan's voice because she was the one who called for the response and I need help. I want to.
Yeah.
You don't think that Moff Gideon didn't recognize Bo-Katan's voice?
Right.
She should have let Fennec or somebody else
I thought
actually broadcast that out. So she gave herself away right from the get-go. And he knew right then that Bo-Katan was coming. She was coming for that Darksaber. She found him.
Yeah.
So he knew he had to do something else. You can look at the recognition. Yes, he had a lot of things planned out. I don't think he planned out that Jedi coming, because you could see the look on his face once he realized and he's seen what was happening with the Jedi coming through and destroying his dark troopers, which he thought was going to be the end all and save him.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why he made his move and started shooting when he, because that was his last plan, was to try and shoot his way out. And he,
effort.
I thought it was interesting that all the dark troopers, they all stopped when Luke, like, they stopped what they were doing. Like, how did they know? They're droids. How would they have known to stop?
I think that they knew that someone had come onto the ship.
But here's the thing. I have a problem with this. Okay? If the dark troopers are going to continue to save their boss, they have a whole platoon of Darksabers. They didn't dark troopers. They didn't need all of them to turn around, stop, and wait for Luke Skywalker to come and do a kill.
Yeah, that was weird.
I'm sorry, Kens. I didn't.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine.
I think it was just dramatic purposes.
Exactly. It's storytelling purposes.
You have to acknowledge there's also plot.
Yeah.
You need plot.
Yeah.
Points.
And here's the other thing I have a problem with the Dark Troopers. Okay. It takes them approximately 2 minutes to charge up. Now, if you notice, they're still charging up while they're out of their bins and they're turning and whatever. They're still charging up. They didn't, as soon as they're
upgrading their firmware.
Yeah, but come on. They've already disconnected from their
power source.
Which, if you look at it, to me, it reminded me of Star Trek and the Borg. As soon as they move their cubicle, they're already awake. They're ready to go. So if the Dark Troopers are charging up, they shouldn't actually be stepping out of their cubicle until they're completely 100% ready to go. But then again, story exposition. They needed it for plot points and that whole dramatic. And to me, it reminded me a lot of Terminator, especially with the one Dark Trooper with the door. It's very reminiscent. Again, it's the Dark Troopers look a lot like Tony Stark's armor, the movement of Tony, because again, who's the creator?
Jon Favreau.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. It reminded me of Iron Man. Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of similarities in all of it. I think. I don't know. I just saw that whole shootout thing between the shuttle and the TIE fighters and all that. It reminded me so much of Battlestar Galactica. So
a lot of references. I think it's really. I think this was a perfect episode.
Yeah,
I thought it was great.
Yeah,
I thought it was good. I mean, and again, we still have the entire story now that sets up for what's going to happen with the Darksaber. What's going to happen with, Mando now? Is it going to be Mando versus Bo-Katan? Is it going to be, what's happening there?
Yeah.
That aggravated me.
And it was obvious that he didn't have to kill. He didn't have to kill Gideon to get it off of him. So she doesn't have to kill Mando. She could just maybe just
defeat him in combat,
wipe at him and just knock it out of his hand, and he can let her do it. And then,
I think that's Gideon pushing the buttons and trying to start something between them.
True.
All right.
And that's what aggravated me was that, her whole thing is that she hates Moff Gideon. Then why are you letting him get to you? You obviously know he's trying to get under your skin. Ignore him.
Right.
So Lisa put in a chat something about the Darksaber and what the Darksaber is. She kind of was wondering what the Darksaber is. The Darksaber is the first as a lightsaber that the first Mandalorian Jedi, the only Mandalorian from Mandalore who became a Jedi, when he created his lightsaber, he did not create a normal lightsaber. He created what's called the dark saber. When he died, his last name was Vizsla. It came from Clan Vizsla. When he died, it was secured in the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. Mandalores and Jedis, the reason why the Beskar armor is so well against the lightsaber and the dark saber and stuff like that is because it's created to help fight Jedi. Most of the armors and most of the weapons that the Mandalorians use is to fight Jedis. They created things to help them. The Mandalorians raided the temple, grabbed the dark saber, and now what they consider is anybody who holds the dark saber is considered the heir apparent to the throne of Mandalore. So, in the Clone Wars, Darth Maul beats Tarz Vizsla, takes the dark saber. In the Rebels series, Sabine Wren finds the dark saber in Darth Maul's home on Dathomir and takes the dark saber. She trains with it. She actually fights somebody on Mandalore with the darksaber. But here's the kicker. Bo-Katan is the sister of Duchess Satine, who was the last full ruler of Mandalore under the being an independent planet. When she dies, the next person in line for the leadership of Mandalore is Bo-Katan. Sabine Wren hands the darksaber to Bo-Katan in the Rebels. That's the point of contention I had with watching this whole exposition of you have to beat somebody. Now, it's also been explained that where it could have been maybe some Mandalorians didn't recognize Bo-Katan as being the true leader of Mandalore because she did not win the darksaber from the last person who actually won it, which is Darth Maul. Darth Maul is the last person to actually win it in battle, unless Moff Gideon won it in battle against Bo-Katan, who then took the darksaber, and who was the last rightful heir to the darksaber. You got to think of it as the Elder Wand.
That's what I was about to say. That's what you compared it to, the Elder Wand.
So now,
my thing is that honestly, with Bo-Katan's attitude, I don't even think she'd be a good leader. Honestly,
yeah,
I feel like she's just too full of herself.
I agree.
Well,
I agree.
Here, and my thing too is, we don't know how Gideon got it. Really, I mean, we know that they took over the planet, but we don't necessarily know, what happened to how he was able to get a hold of it. So I don't know. And again, I think it's another plot point to where he's again egging it on, and he's basically, I don't know.
Yeah.
Unless they come up with some new rule now since all that happened to where you have to. Who knows?
Who knows for sure?
Yeah.
So,
and I'm sure we may find out later on. I'm sure that might be something part of the story as we continue. Is that because I'm sure it's going to be a major part of it. So. Yeah.
So we didn't say what we thought, right?
Go ahead.
Do you want to say what you thought?
No, you go ahead.
You don't want to say what you
I
thought?
will.
You
will.
go
first.
Okay. So, I mean, I agree with Kenzie. I thought the way that they brought Luke into it was amazing. And like you said, did somebody mention the music? I mean, when he started to take his hood off and they started to play. That's the part that made me just like lose it, because that music is just burned in my brain from when I saw Star Wars back in 1977. And I remember when Luke was looking at the twin suns at the end of A New Hope or Star Wars, at the end like that, I couldn't wait for The Empire Strikes Back to come out. That music just has so much meaning. So they start playing that music, right? And then, just everything started falling into place after that. So that's what really did it for me. But Jeff was laughing at me because I was watching it Friday morning and in bed, and he was still sleeping.
I
And
wasn't laughing at you. I was
Yeah,
disturbed
you were
that
like-
you were waking me up.
you're
when you were
like, "Are
crying.
you crying?" I was like, "Yes." And he said, "That it's just a show." I said, "I know it's just a show." But it was more, it was so much more than that. I loved how it ended. At that point, I wasn't happy that the doors shut and that was it. But, I was hoping that Grogu would decide to stay with Mando and they would try to maybe work something out.
Yeah.
Somehow, but that's not what happened. So we're just going to have to wait and see. And I know they're going to get back together because Mando promised him we will see each other again. Luke said, I will, my life, I will give my life to protect this child. So, I mean, Luke, and who else? I think someone else said it. Who else would you trust with Grogu? None other than Luke Skywalker.
He is the perfect person to train.
He is at this point in time where he is. I think, Luke goes a little crazy as we learn a little further down where he starts losing it. And hopefully by the time he hits that point where he just walks away and goes off to some island, Grogu's going to be long gone. I mean, I believe that he'll be gone.
He's gone before Kylo does his little massacring.
Yes, he will be. He will be. He'll be gone before then because that's another how many years down the road.
Tracy walked away, but that's another fan theory is that we're going to see a young Ben Solo at some point now.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. So anyway, what did you think, Jeff? What did you think about the whole thing? Okay, here we go.
I think it proved how strong Luke is at that point because you saw one of those black troopers kicking the snot out of the Mandalorian, and Luke just going through them like they're melted butter. I think it showed what a coward Moff Gideon is. He can't. He's not a man of his word at all, and he attacked Mando from the back.
That was weird.
And I know early Bo-Katan said, "I have to be the one to defeat Moff Gideon."
He's mine.
I don't think Mandalorian had really any chance. He was fighting for his life, and it got caught up in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Did what he had to do. I don't think Moff Gideon's the toughest, scariest. No. I mean, Darth Vader is just so much more menacing than Moff Gideon in my book.
Yeah.
I find it interesting though that you can tell that Moff Gideon is trying to emulate Vader with his uniform.
Yeah.
With the black, with the chest plate, like he's trying to be someone he's not, and he's a fraud. That's how I feel.
Yes,
that's a good point. How he attacked him. He attacked him from the back like that. That was
just very cowardish in my book, and I just don't think he's. I mean, he has no. He doesn't care about anybody else's life except his own. He didn't even care about his own.
Well, he was gonna kill himself.
He's a true Imperial. That's what I.
Yes.
Welcome in, Rachel.
Good point. Good point.
It just that character gets to me a little bit, but other than that, I mean, I thought this would have been a perfect end to the series because the Mandalorian did what he was supposed to do with what his task was to deliver the child to a Jedi, and he did it, and end story.
Okay,
but I know it'll keep going on.
It will because, and I agree with you that he said, I mean, that was what that lead Mandalore told him. You need to reunite him with his kind.
Right.
That's your mission or whatever. But I think, as you know, I mean, does she know that Din took his mask off? Probably not. She might be very disappointed in him. I don't know. But it's changing now. He's evolving. Mm-hmm. That's another reason why
character evolution.
Yeah, that was something else I was going to talk about was the fact that he's more willing now to take his helmet off.
Yes.
At least with the child he is when it comes to the child.
Yeah.
At least with Grogu.
Grogu was asking him if he could take it off because he didn't want to. Like I think in Grogu's mind it was like he didn't know if he would see him again, and he wanted to know what his dad looked like.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe Grogu force commanded him to do it and made him do it. And then he really is a Sith Lord all along.
No.
Oh no.
So and
I'm going to keep that going.
So, Jeff, I 100% agree with you. This would have been a perfect way to end the series completely.
It's closed the chapter, but we're ready to move.
But it's not about Baby Yoda. It's about the Mandalorian.
It technically, yes, the show is about the Mandalorian.
It's technically a Mandalorian because he was the foundling.
Now, and I brought this up, I think, last week or the week before. Who knows? Luke Skywalker is not going to follow the tradition of the old Jedi.
Right.
If Luke is willing to train Ben Solo, who is the daughter of his sister and his best friend, he's allowing some attachments to be
familial
there.
attachments.
So I don't think this is the end
his internet
to
went out.
all of the storyline.
Uh-oh.
Is that are we losing our internet?
It's them.
So
okay.
No, it was me.
Okay.
It was me. So here's the thing.
If it's
to
us,
me,
it
really
looks
mad. Like
Spectrum was here at 8:00 this morning.
Is it
and
me
they
again?
gave us a new router.
No,
Yeah.
it's not you. It's
no, it's all.
Is it us?
It's me.
It's them.
Me personally, the way I.
When you say it's them, it's Tracy and Kenzie.
Yeah, it's Tracy and Kenzie's internet that's going out. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Because if it's us,
no, it's not us.
Spectrum was here for an hour last night. This morning, they gave us a new modem. So hopefully that solves all our problems.
No, it's just them. They're lagging a little bit. I think it's back. I think it's back now.
Okay.
I think we're.
All right. So when I look at it, it's not the end all of Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. I could see there's a couple episodes next year you're not going to see Baby Yoda, and that's going to aggravate some fans who watched the Mandalorian who got really attached to Grogu. I think the next season I think the next season of the Mandalorian you're going to start off with the retaking of Mandalore, and then the ultimate conflict between Bo-Katan and Din Djarin. I don't think Bo-Katan's going to win against Din Djarin because he's a much better fighter. Granted, she has a group that called the Night Owls that follow along with her. Who knows how this is all going to end up in the long run? But I think, it's interesting to see where they're going to go with it. Now, they didn't actually introduce or even say that when they did the Star Wars and all the series that were coming out, they never mentioned Boba Fett was getting his own series. Now, when we were talking about that extra scene at the end of this episode, we don't know if the book of Boba Fett might just be season 3 of The Mandalorian.
Not.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
They wouldn't call it something completely different.
Series myself, and it'll be separate, completely separate from Mando. I think it's got
unless they were just waiting. I mean, because what did they introduce? They introduced that they're going to have Rogue Squadron. They're going to introduce. They introduced.
If it was just going to be the season 3 of Mandalorian, they would not have called it something completely different.
I hope
they would have called it the Mandalorian.
They would have said Mandalorian season 3. It wouldn't have been called Book of Boba Fett.
Welcome in, Matt. Welcome in, Mike.
I mean, I kind of see now where you're coming from, Tracy. I mean, I kind of do. They could. I mean, and it could be that it is that they switch gears.
But
and because of, because of your time jump thing, Kenzie, that you're saying this is a filler,
right?
But
the book of Boba Fett may include what's happening with Din Djarin, and that might all be encompassed into this book of Boba Fett too, and that is season 3.
I just think that it's going to all be about Boba Fett and Fennec.
Okay.
And their
Lucasfilm.
And their
okay. What does it say?
Billy pretty much proven me wrong because she's now a nerd just like us. And from Lucasfilm, it says Boba Fett is not Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah.
So Lucasfilm is saying it's separate, which is cool.
Then I would say that it's going to be like a mini series. Then,
which is it's fine with me. It gives us something. It gives us something to look forward to. In fact,
I'm disappointed that it's not going to be season 3.
Because here's the thing: the actor who's playing Din Djarin has an issue with the lack of FaceTime that he gets.
He doesn't though.
He's going to get more FaceTime now. I think
just disproved that though. Pedro Pascal came out and said he's never had an issue with it. He literally just proved that.
Well,
not
who
an
knows?
issue.
Who knows what's going to come? Listen, I am excited for all of these Star Wars episodes, whether they're the Clone Wars or their animation or their live action. I think Rogue Squad's considered just a movie that might be on a Disney Plus release. There is so much Star Wars content coming out; it's unbelievable. And I think, thank goodness, Jon Favreau did what he did with The Mandalorian, because if not, I think the Star Wars saga would have ended with Solo because of the disappointment in the box office returns or the critical returns of Solo.
I agree.
I think if they handled Solo the way Jon Favreau handled The Mandalorian, it would have been a better movie.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for everything that they're finally coming out with. There's so much content that they can pull from. And you're talking, we getting some Rogue Squadron, Rogue One prequel with the Andor series. We're getting the Rangers, New Republic Rangers, which is happening in the same time period as The Mandalorian. The Boba Fett series is going to happen at the same time as this is going on.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about the animated cartoon, which is going to come out, which is the bad, what's it called? The bad.
Yeah.
The Bad Batch.
The Bad Batch is going to happen at the end of right about the same time as the Order 66 and the creation of the Empire.
Yeah.
There's just so much information that's going to come out that I don't know where I'm going to store it all.
Yeah. I think if you think about it, Tracy, you're used to this with me. Kenzie, you're not. We have to wait. And I remember that last episode, that last movie at the ending of The Empire Strikes Back, when Han was in carbonite. He was frozen. And Leia and Luke were standing there, and they ended the movie like that, just like that. And I had to wait 3 years to find out what was happening next. And I had no fillers in between. Like, we're going to get, like Tracy said, we're going to have some fillers. We're going to have stuff. It's just.
They're spoiling us, honestly.
And you know what I did for those 3 years? What you and I talked about before, Kenzie, I would kind of think of things in my head that might be happening. I didn't know what I was doing, and you have a name for it, fan fiction. But that's what I did in my head. I'm thinking, maybe this will happen. And I had to settle it in my head what was going to happen next, because I had to wait for 3 years until something else came out. So
welcome in, Will.
I guess I've kind of settled into the fact that we're just going to have to wait. They'll be together again, and we can be excited for it. And in the meantime, we'll have all these other things that we can watch.
And Christine Hickman.
So,
well, and I've said too, with the way the world is now, this new episodic series is the new way of doing it. And I feel like, that this is a great way of doing it, and it's a lot of content, but at the same time, it's not just a movie. It's, we can take it in pieces.
Yes.
And it can expand, even more.
Yes.
And when we are able to do movies, we can do even more movies again. That kind of a thing. I think that they're handling it well as far as they're setting things up for the future.
Right.
And in my opinion, but we'll see where it goes,
So let's talk about the book of Boba Fett.
Or it's been over an hour. Do we want to wrap? I don't know.
Why don't we save this? Why don't we save that for when we talk about the new stuff? We were gonna discuss what we're gonna do next.
Let's just talk about the end credit scene. If anybody who has watched the last episode of The Mandalorian, make sure you stay for the end after the credits.
Mm-hmm.
It is the Marvel end credit scene, and it shows Bib Fortuna, who is Jabba the Hutt's right-hand man from back and all the way to the Phantom Menace, who he makes an appearance in the Phantom Menace. He's been Jabba the Hutt's right-hand man.
Is there a reason you're saying Mentis?
It's okay. Just let him go.
Menace.
We know what you mean.
Menace,
whatever. He's excited.
Oh, he was excited like a little kid when we watched this.
when someone told me, in fact, I stopped in the credits and Billy was like, no, there's an end credit scene. As soon as I seen
on FaceTime with Ange, and Ange was like, oh, I want to see his reaction.
So as soon as I seen the twin sons, I said they're on Tatooine. And then as soon as I seen Jabba's palace, I was like, Jabba's palace,
Yeah, he was huge dork about it.
And then I dorked out. I geeked out, dorked out, nerded out. It was awesome. I like the end credit scene. I can't wait for what's coming up.
Yes. I agree. I'm excited about it. So
a lot of really good stuff coming.
Yes. Welcome in the Friendly Gamer 2.0.
Welcome in, Rocket Robin.
So what's our plan for next week? So that our viewers know what's coming up in the future for next week. But next week is Christmas weekend.
Yep.
I think we're all fine with actually doing a show on Sunday. If anybody, unless we're all figuring that we'll take the Christmas week off. I don't know. No, I'm fine with doing something.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Do you think we should? Was the plan to watch them to kind of like do a season recap, like just all the episodes?
No, I think what we were going to do is we were going to go over what Disney Plus has been announcing. We were going to go over the Star Wars shows that have been announced, talk about those in detail, and then talk about the Marvel things that have been announced and talk about those in detail.
So WandaVision starts on January 15th.
Okay.
And I'm assuming we're going to discuss that.
Let me get out my trusty calendar.
Welcome in, Captain Nathan.
So there are 3 weeks that we'll need to find something to talk about. So we had discussed about possibly doing a recap next week on Tracy's channel, or going on and starting to talk about the new stuff. I would love to start talking about the new stuff, and I think that Tracy needs to have the Star Wars stuff, because he's going to know it about it all.
I will do a lot of research this week.
And so that's where I'm thinking that maybe next Sunday we can talk about the new Star Wars shows coming. That's my opinion.
So who has it next week? Tracy does.
Tracy's got it.
Okay.
And then it'll be Kenzie's. And then we can maybe start talking about the Marvel stuff, because we can start talking about Loki. We can start talking about, things that are coming. And then I'll
want to talk about Loki.
Me. I want to talk about Loki.
Nobody wants to talk about Loki. We're going to talk about Pocahontas instead. Right, Jeff?
That's right. All the princesses.
All the princesses.
In order.
Especially Pocahontas.
And then maybe for my third week for my channel, we can talk about the new Disney stuff coming.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of that stuff too that nobody's really talked about. So maybe we can do that on that third week, and then the following week we'll start watching WandaVision.
Okay.
Does that sound okay? Or
yeah, that works.
Does everybody think?
I'm fine with it. You good with it, Jeff?
I don't care.
Yeah, we have to. I know me and Kenzie, we have to let go of this, right? And we have to refocus, because otherwise, we will literally drive ourselves crazy.
Yeah.
I know. Jeff laughs at me. He doesn't understand it, but it is just.
So in the meantime, just hug tight to Grogu.
Hey, Jeff.
You got a year to wait.
Jeff, I'm on the same page as you.
And
it's a movie.
She can't even.
Everybody has their own emotions about it, and it's totally understandable. And I get it. I'm not emotional like they are, but I get it. So
yeah, and Kenzie, you and I have talked before. You couldn't understand why I didn't feel the way I felt at the end of the Marvel stuff. I just never developed that connection for some reason with those characters. I don't know why. Maybe it's because we went through them so fast. Maybe I didn't allow myself to. Maybe it didn't have enough time to settle. But with these characters, I developed that, and I knew I had that connection.
And you did develop some connection, because you started to care about it at the end.
I did, yes, absolutely. I didn't cry when Tony Stark died. Like Abby was sobbing about the Baby Yoda scene, and she was sobbing when Tony Stark died. I mean, she was sobbing, and I was just kind of like, meh, But this, on the other hand,
No, actually, what I was laughing at was William. Glenn put in there. Tracy, Glenn, Loki, and Kenzie are dating, so she has to talk about him.
Oh boy!
And then, of course, Matt Stiles puts in there. I have an issue with this rock and roll.
My chat on StreamYards hasn't moved in over half an hour, so I did not see the chat.
And guys, Grogu Santa is thankful to Kenzie and Billy because she found this is a Build-A-Bear Santa outfit that fits perfectly on Grogu, and it's festive. And
I was just gonna say there's your tips, people. If you want outfits, go to Build-A-Bear.
If we want outfits for Grogu, we can get them on Build-A-Bear.
Correct. So
yes.
So next week, Nerd Talk's going to be on my channel. I'm going to let Jeff and Angela. Let's wrap up the rest of the run through.
Yep.
Go ahead. What do you got going on, Russ?
Well, it's Christmas week, so whatever anybody else decides they want to do, I'm probably going to be hanging out, just all week. You may or may not see me throughout the week on different people's shows. Wednesday, I am going to be dropping a video of our trip to Give Kids the World. I'm not going to be doing a premiere. It's just going to be a video, but it's just lots of the lights, and it's just very beautiful. I tried to put some good Christmas music to it, and so it's a good Christmas video. Next Saturday, not 100% sure what I'm going to do for my show. We're kind of throwing around the idea of just playing Sorry or just hanging out, because it's the day after Christmas and that kind of a thing. So just hanging out this week and trying to celebrate the holidays. So
sounds good. Kenzie?
Vlogmas tomorrow, and then I don't know if I'll be posting Vlogmas on Christmas or not. I have to figure it out, but if I do not, that means I've only done 7 days of Vlogmas, which is fine because I'm a college student. Just hanging out on people's streams probably. It's break for me, so I don't know how active I'll be on other people's channels regarding during the week. I'm going to start up my Monday streams again in January, so it's going to be exciting. Very looking forward to that.
Have a great day, the Friendly Gamer 2.0. Thanks for being here. Tracy?
Let's see. We're not doing book club this Tuesday because we finished book club and we're trying to figure out what our next book club is. I don't know. I think Tina's doing a travel stream on Wednesday, so I don't know if she's going to be actually doing anything there or
Tina in the car.
Huh?
Tina in the car.
Tina in the car going to Harvard Yard. But Thursday, my plan is to do a stream. It's Christmas Eve. I don't know how long we're going to do it. I'm going to try and see how Christmas caroling on StreamYards and broadcasting it is. So everybody keep Thursday at 4:00. We're going to try to Christmas carol. I'll invite some people and we're going to see how it works. Kenzie's going to join me. She already said she's committed.
She's got a solo.
She's got.
Oh boy.
So that's the plan. And then guys, I want to say, before we go any further, have a Merry Christmas to all of our fans. We had a great time, and I can't wait for next year.
Yeah.
I just can't wait for this year to be over. How I feel.
Right?
I know it.
What do we got going on?
So what do we have going on? So we'll be finishing up Vlogmas. When are you supposed to go to with that? Are you supposed to go to the 24th? Is that what everybody typically does?
Normally people do 24th or the 25th.
Okay. So we'll be finishing up Vlogmas. I'm hoping to do some streams maybe from some resorts this week. We'll see.
We'll see what we can get to.
Yeah, if we can get to some resorts, because I don't know. We'll have to look at the schedule and see what other people are doing, so we're not stepping on anybody's toes. But I have a couple days off of work, Christmas Eve and the day before Christmas Eve, and tomorrow morning I'm off too. So I don't know. If I wasn't so scared to stream by myself, I would probably do something, but I don't know. So. And
then, so make sure you check out Pete McDevitt tonight because they will have the reading of the night before Christmas, not the night before Christmas. So that's at 5:30, I believe.
Yep, 5:30.
If somebody could put that link in the chat, feel free. But that's on Pete McDevitt's channel. It's the I forget how many collaborators were in on that.
Is it on Pete's channel? I thought it was on somebody else's
channel.
It's on Pete's channel. But then it'll be
got
on
over like 100 and some different people to be involved in it. So it's going to be a pretty big deal.
It's going to be big. Yeah. Welcome in, Jeff Resendez. And then
in about an hour.
And then tonight, Monarch Moments at around 9-ish.
Mhm.
They never start on time, but make sure you check them out. That's always a hoot.
So I just dropped that link for Pete in the channel.
Is it at 5:30? Did I get the time right?
Let's see. He says it's
Yep.
5:30.
5:30, yeah. So make sure you check that out. And then
Dad, where did you put the link?
I don't see it.
I'm sorry.
It'll be there.
Okay. Nope. Guys, just let you know. I did drop the link. You're actually going to have to look for Pete McDevitt's channel and go and click on the thing. The links, mods have not been able to drop any links in any chats.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard
that.
Yeah, I heard that's been an issue lately.
While I did drop the link, I would recommend you go out and find Pete McDevitt's channel.
What?
Yes.
So links aren't working anymore.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
Mods have not been. I could see myself dropping the link. I don't see it. It's not appearing in anybody's chat. So I don't know if it's a YouTube issue or did they change it to where you can't even. Maybe they took away the whole dropping of the links in chat.
Yeah.
There are some people are making people mods just for the sub thing. There's people out there that just make everybody a mod. So it's maybe it's another step.
Links. Oh, geez.
It may be another step that YouTube's taken to crack down on sub for sub and stuff like that. And we're not a sub for sub channel, or not. None of us are. So I agree with what they're doing. But the only problem is mods who could put in links for other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult. So I would recommend it's Pete McDevitt, and I'll drop his name and the correct spelling.
Yes.
But I know Chris from Love and Disworld worked very hard on this video, putting it all together, working with a bunch of collaborators. So make sure you check it out. He spent a lot of time working on this. So
there's the correct spelling of Pete McDevitt's name. So punch that into your search bar and you'll find Pete. He's the one that looks like it'll say Pete McDevitt with a Mickey hand.
It might even be Pete and not Peter.
I think it's Pete.
No, it's
Is it Peter McDevitt? Okay.
No, Pete McDevitt.
No, it's Pete,
not Peter.
Dad, did you put in Peter?
Peter Rabbit.
Oh my
God. It's Peter Rabbit, Pete McDevitt.
Peter Rabbit.
It's Pete.
And it's Grogu.
Yeah.
It's Grogu right here.
But check out Pete. Check out Monarch Moments. That's where we'll be. Okay. And internet issues are horrible.
Thanks, Tracy.
Wait, who's coming back? So we can all say goodbye.
There he is.
All right, everyone. Thank you for being here. Have a Merry Christmas from our house to yours. Happy New Year. If we don't speak to you in that time frame between now and the end of the year, I'm sure we'll see.
We'll see people, right?
Hi, Amy. Peter Rabbit McDevitt. Yeah. So make sure you check those out tonight, and everybody have a safe rest of your weekend, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye, guys.
For Christmas.